Hello there, it's Carrie Rhoades here. Welcome back to the Trinity Stamps YouTube channel. In my video today, I am sharing some ways to color with your Copic markers to add texture. I'm using one of my favorite Trinity stamp sets, and that's the Treetop Adventure. This is a slimline stamp set. Look at this giant, super awesome image of a treehouse. I am in love with it. I think it is so much fun. My very first video I ever did as a design team member for Trinity Stamps was with this stamp, and I created a fall scene. So I thought it would be fun today to do a spring scene. If you missed that fall video, I'll link it right here in the top corner so you can check it out. And here I am going to create a tree that is very springy. I love the pink flowering trees in the springtime. So that's what I wanted to create. I know this is probably not like true to nature, but this is my tree and my scene, and it makes me happy. So I'm going for it. I am using R43. This is my darkest shade of pink, and I'm just coloring in some dots. These are not perfect polka dots. I'm going fast. I don't care if they touch, they overlap. Some are big, some are small. All of that is good. It looks like nature. Now I am bringing in RV13. This is my mid-tone, and I'm trying to fill in some of the white spaces. And again, I don't care if they overlap. Some are big, some are small, and I'm just filling this in. I'm not really going to be doing any coloring, only these dots. So next I will bring in my lightest color, which is RV21, and this is the color I probably did the most dots with because I really wanted to fill in that space, but there is still white space on this card, on this tree. So I'll fill in as much as I just really want to and leave as much white space as I like. Then I'm going to take that same RV21 and go around the edges of the tree branches and the tree house, and that just gives a little bit of shadowing, but it's not super noticeable. I'm also going to go around all of those rounded lines in the tree. Now let's move on to the tree trunk itself. I am bringing in R35 as my darkest color and coloring in lines. I like to hold my pen so that when I color, I'm going to do a very light hand, almost so when I draw the line, the pen kind of skips and I get line dash dash type of thing. So that's what I'm doing here with my darkest color. I am coloring in heavier on some spots that I know I want there to be a shadow. I'm going to do the same exact thing with my mid-tone, which is E33, and adding in even more shadows. And again, I don't care if I overlap what's already there, but I am trying to fill in some of the white space. I felt like a tree with pink flowers would maybe have a lighter trunk, plus I was trying to go with lighter, brighter colors. Now I am coloring in my tree trunk with my lightest color, E11. I just happened to do most of it off screen. I got a little caught up in the coloring, so there you can see what it looks like. Now I'm going to color the tree house itself using BG53 as my darkest, so I'm coloring in all of the trim with this color. I will bring in a little C2, a gray marker, to add some shadowing to it, but I don't actually show that here. Next, I am coloring in the main part of the treehouse with B000, and that will finish that off. For the leaves, I'm using YG01 to color them in. Again, a nice, bright, springy color, and then adding just a dot of YG17 for some shadowing. Then I wanted to add some highlights or light to the inside of the house, so I brought in, this is Y06. I really felt like it was a little bit too bright, but I had to go with it, so I brought in my colorless blender and just kind of feathered that out a little bit to lighten it up a little bit. I let this dry, and I did do that or repeat that 1 or 2 more times to soften it out. Next, I am bringing back in my YG17 for my grass, and you can see I'm adding texture again, this time with some straight lines, and I am using the broad tip of my YG01 for a light background. Again, leaving white spaces, then I'll come back in with my YG17 and just make straight lines like grass. Sorry that some of this is off screen. But here you can see the finished coloring with all of the things colored in, and I had so much fun coloring this. I love the bright colors. Now the dies for this set work different. You're going to use this die to go across the top, and then there's a die for the left side of the tree and a die for the right side of the tree. But I decided I needed to die cut out my smaller images before I did that. So I'm going to bring in all the coordinating dies and die cut out all those cute things that will be on my card. Once that is done, now I can bring back in the tree dies. So again, this one goes across the top, and I'm going to have this fit on a card base that is 8.5 by 3.5 inches. So I will use that measurement after I die cut this out with the dies. So once those are taped in place, I run it through the die machine just like that. And then you can see here the top and the sides of the tree are removed. And now I'm just going to take that to my paper trimmer and trim it so that it is 3.5 inches wide. And you can see there is my card base, my 3.5 inch wide card base, and it fits on there perfect, but I wanted to add some blue sky. So I'm bringing in Tumbled Glass Distress Oxide ink, and I'm going to put that on with a foam blending brush at the top and the bottom. There's a big space that will be covered by the tree, so I actually didn't need to add any ink to that area. And then of course, I am going to splatter this because I love splatter. So once that ink blending is done, I bring in my Distress sprayer with water and spritz that on my background. I let that set for just a minute, and then I pick up the water with a paper towel. Next, I have some Broken China Distress Oxide ink and a scraggly paintbrush. I've pressed that ink pad onto a piece of acetate, and I'm using the edge of it to splatter on this Broken China ink for some little bit darker blue splatters, and that will be the background or the sky for my card. I'm going to go ahead and glue that down to my card base, which is 8.5 inches by 7 inches, scored at 3.5. Then I can add my tree. I'm going to have this flush with the bottom of the card, so there's sky above the tree and below the tree. I'm adding in all my cute things, my banner, my birdhouse, this little nest with 3 eggs in it, and then I have a little boy and a little girl. I'm going to have them holding something. So the boy's going to hold this yellow kite, and the girl is going to hold the balloon, and I love that these kids do not have shoes on and they're just running in the grass. It is so cute. Added the ball, and then for some sentiments, I have this stamp set that is a sentiment for almost everything, and I'm going to stamp the word hi right above the girl, and I'm going to stamp hello for the boy just above his kite. And with these tiny little sentiments, I like to make sure I clean it off and put it back as soon as I'm finished using it, because I would be so sad if I lost that little hi. Have you lost a tiny stamp before? I have. It's a heart that I lost, and I'm not over it. So I try to be really careful and keep track of them. And then for the top of the card, I'm going to stamp right on the card again. This time I'm going to stamp miss you. And I just thought this would be really fun to send to, maybe my sister. I have 3 sisters and they all live in different states. So it's fun to send them cards like this. So that is it for today's card. I had so much fun creating this spring scene as there was a blizzard outside my window. So I'm willing the spring to come. And I just thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me on this Saturday. I hope that you have a fabulous weekend. I will see you back on the Trinity Stamps YouTube channel next Saturday. If you're new here, we would love for you to subscribe. Come find us on Facebook and Instagram as well. I'll see you all again soon. Happy stamping. Bye.